Most educational creators want to get more views, but they just don't know how. So today I'm going to show you exactly how I script and create 100,000 view reels consistently so you can do the same. If you don't know who I am, my name is Chris Chung. I grew 100,000 followers in 5 weeks, and I regularly produce 100,000 view reels that gets me leads and clients every single week. So the one that I'm going to break down today is this one, 134,000 views. You see that I got, this one's like 2 days ago. It's going to get up to 100,000 views. Another one, 107,000 views. My baseline average is around 10 to 20,000 views. But when I put effort, you'll see that like you'll hit 53,000 views, another 100,000 views. So this format that I'm showing you today has performed consistently. So I'm going to show it to you right here.
Show me another creator that teaches this for free. I was told not to share this, so what you do with this is on you. It's called the primer. So the first type suggests that the info you're about to share is dangerous. You already heard it because I said one at the start. But the second type is even stronger because you're saying it's a secret. An example is, my 5-year NDA just expired, so I can finally share this. But the third type pulls people in by focusing on loss. An example is, I paid $50K in therapy just to learn this. They're getting it for free, so they'll listen. But the strongest one of all is when you transfer the morals to the viewer. So you can say, I'm trusting you with this. Please don't abuse this. Now the viewer can't help but watch.
Okay, so that is the reel. It has 134,000 views as I'm recording this right now. I've transcribed it, so I'm going to break it down for you line by line and tell you how I scripted this and how I designed this, that I was pretty sure that it was going to cross at least 100,000 views when I was scripting it. Yeah, you might be saying like, hey, Chris, you just, talking, it's BS, whatnot. Sometimes when I create these reels on a daily basis, so sometimes you just know. So, okay, here is the entire script broken down, and then each line has a different purpose, obviously. So I'm going to play the hook. This is the hook right here.
Show me another creator that teaches this for free.
Now, that is just me going contrarian. And the purpose of the hook, like I always talk about in all my videos, is only to create curiosity. So many of these creators tell you these hook templates to copy and paste and use, but it's only because they don't know how to create curiosity themselves. And so they have to rely on these tactics. You want to understand the principles and not the tactics, because tactics change, principles are forever. Once a tactic is overdone, it loses its power. That's why I always say when people say, I don't know who needs to hear this, but, and then you say a bunch of stuff, it's like, that is so overdone. The second you hear that, I am scrolling. I don't know about you, but at least I am scrolling. So my hook right here is like, show me another creator that teaches this for free. That is me hinting that like what I'm about to share is like some serious sauce. And I want you to quickly look at my face right here. But I want you to quickly point out my background too. Obviously, I use an on-screen text hook, which is how to 2x your views with one line. And that is very specific. How to hooks always perform better. Double your views, right? That is your goal with one line, right? So that's simple. So you can see how like my on-screen text hook and my verbal hook, what I actually say, which is show me another creator that teaches this for free, is completely different, because you want to use two different angles when you're creating these reels, right? Why would I put like show me another creator that teaches it for free as my on-screen text hook when I'm already saying it? If I can use two different angles, I can like shortcut the time of my speed to value. So I'm already telling you, when you're listening to this, you're already seeing how to double your views with one line, and you're already locked in understanding that is what I'm going to tell you next. And then I have obviously Tony Robbins, Layla, and Alex Hormozi in order to create credibility. Shelby Sapp right here. And I actually do something that's like super strategic, which is I put Alex and Shelby on the bottom because their face is obviously super popular. Like their face basically is the hook. And a small thing to note is like when you're doing these like 4 grid, I don't even know what people call this, these like 4 grid green screen videos, you want to make sure that like the more famous people are on the bottom. And now I understand Tony Robbins is arguably equally as famous, if not more famous too, but Shelby Sapp has a prettier face, right? So to get both guys and girls, I'm going to put Alex and Shelby up here, and then sometimes it cuts off on the top, but I still add Layla and Tony on top. That's the quick thing on my hook. And then I go into a primer. Now, my second line, let me just play it real quick.
I was told not to share this, so what you do with this is on you.
Right? That is my primer. Now, what a primer is, the purpose of the primer is to double the viewer's curiosity. So by saying that, your ears instantly perk up, because I was told not to share this, so what you do with this is on you. I'm hinting what I'm about to share next is some extremely serious sauce. And I'm even suggesting that it is dangerous, right? Because I say what you do with this is on you. So once I'm handing over dangerous material to you, it's always the dangerous stuff is always the good stuff, right? It's just like when you see a friend, you're like, oh, I'll tell you something, but you don't tell anybody else, right? You instantly lock in. You might be on your phone before, but the second he says that or she says that, you're instantly locked in because it's like, oh, I want to be in on this secret, right? So that's the purpose of the primer. I say the hook to capture your curiosity and your attention, and then the second you're in, I double that instantly with my primer, which is the one right here. I was told not to share this, but what you do with this is on you. Then I go to my third line.
It's called the primer. So the first...
Did I skip that line? Let me see. Did I say...
Show me another creator that teaches this for free. I was told not to share this, so what you do with this is on you. It's called the primer.
Okay, so actually I scripted that out before, but I guess I deleted it. But if I added, but if you say one of these lines after your hook, your views would double. Oh, okay, I got it. I understand why I cut it out. This was my original draft, but because this line, like I said, I added right here. So you see how it's like if I did it at the start already, I would actually want to remove it, because once it's removed, it shortens this, like it speeds up the speed to value. Speed to value is huge, right? The faster you can get to, the sauce, what people want to know, the better the results. People aren't sticking around for days, especially with short form content. They just want it like right there and then. So you want to get to the value faster, which is why I cut that out, and I just say it's called the primer. And you can see that right here. I say it's a unique mechanism. So I've not heard a single other creator teach this thing. So the primer is what I call it, at least is why I named it. And it's something that I've developed over the years with like creating short form content and understanding how to create, curiosity effectively. So a unique mechanism name always piques curiosity. That's why you hear all these experts always talk about like, damn, I can't think of one on top of my head, but everyone, Simon Sinek, start with Y, they like, Atomic Habits, like they have all these like unique mechanisms of names that they call this stuff because it makes it seem special and makes it seem powerful. That's basically what I call it. It's also because it's easier for me to refer to it and allows me to brand myself as well. So I call it the primer. And then I go into the first line.
So the first type suggests that the info you're about to share is dangerous. You already heard it because I said one at the start.
Okay, that's one of my favorite ways to do it. So I give an example, context, I get into write what I call net new value. So I get speed to value, which is I get right into it, basically hook, primer, unique mechanism. I give you an explanation. I get right into like the speed to value. And then what net new value is basically, it's like the insight that I'm sharing, right? If I just go with traditional value, which is like, oh, here are 3 ways to double your views, and then I just give you some standard information, yeah, you're not going to care. That's not going to get 100,000 views. What net new value is, it has to be non-obvious, where the viewer has likely never heard, and highly tactical, where the viewer can use today. So chances are you've never heard of what a primer is, nor would you know how to apply it. But right now, what I'm sharing, like in this video, it's instantly creating these aha moments because you're like, I've never heard what this is, but it's making sense, right? So this is net new value. I go right into it, and then I say, you already heard it because I said it at the start. So that's exactly what I said on my second line, right? I was told not to share this, so what you do with this is on you. So that was my first example, and I love using case in point because, especially if you're educational creators, if I can demonstrate it to you and show that it is powerful, that is way more effective compared to if I just say like, hey, you should use this hook, and then I don't use that hook myself, because you would look at me and be like, hey dude, like if your hook was so good and that is like the best thing ever, why are you not using it in your video? Why are you using something else? That means that it is not that good, right? So wherever possible, I always try to use case in point examples because it demonstrates that I eat my own cooking. So going back to this, I'm playing next line.
The second type is even stronger because you're saying it's a secret.
Okay, I rehook you right there. But the second type is even stronger because you're saying it's a secret. So even stronger, that means like, yeah, that was good, right? The first power one, the net new value, that was good. But if you want the second one, it's even stronger, right? So it keeps you engaged again. If you were about to scroll away at that point, you were like, oh, okay, I got the sauce, I understand. Oh, no, don't go away yet. Second point is even stronger, right? So quick thing on visuals as well. You can see I just give 4 kind of high TAM examples. Like, so TAM stands for total addressable market. You can see the first one is Mike Tyson. I say power. Edward Snowden, obviously super niche, but I say secret. It's relatable. Loss. Dave Ramsey. Almost forgot his name for a sec. That makes it makes sense because the investment, the way that his strategy works, and then morals, right? So these are 4 high TAM like people, and I have the 4 categories just to give you a hint of like what's coming next, but it doesn't explain what it is, right? Without my example, you're not going to be able to like, okay, I gotta scroll away. So you can see that's how I structured it as well, and obviously I move myself depending on like which part of the script I'm at. But then I say, but the second type is even stronger because you're saying it's a secret. I'll play the example.
Example is, my 5-year NDA just expired, so I can finally share this.
Okay, I give you another example. That's right off the bat, right? It's very important, especially if you create educational content, that you give concrete examples that are net new value, because it makes it highly tactical and it allows the viewer to actually see and understand what you're saying. If I just said like, oh, you're just sharing a secret, and then I move on to the next one, you don't fully get it. And if viewers only leave your videos because of 3 reasons, and this is called the Cub framework. It's either confusing, it's either unbelievable, or it's boring. So you want to prevent all those, and using examples is a way that mitigates, confusing and unbelievable. Boring, if you're just talking about a boring topic, then I can't help you with that. But so I go back to this. My 5-year NDA just expired, so I can finally share this. So this is super interesting, right? Funny enough, if you actually look at the video on my feed, there was a person that actually worked with, I think, Elon Musk, and was part of his media team or whatnot, and actually had like her NDA just expired. So she was so excited to use this because I think she had a 3-year NDA expired from working with Elon Musk, and so I can finally share this. It's like, if I set the hook, which is like, oh, I have been Elon Musk's personal assistant for 5 years. My NDA just expired, so I can finally talk about this. There is 100%. I'm not even going to go with 99%. 100% you're not going to swipe away because you want to know what the hell is going on. It might be some gossip that's being shared, some special insight, might be some business stuff. Like, you don't know, so you're curious, so you're going to stick around, which is why this primer works extremely well. But it's only like one example of like this secret one. Okay, going back to the next line.
But the third type pulls people in by focusing on loss.
Okay, it's another simple rehook. You can see that I always use the but, right? The first example is net new value right here. First type suggests that info you're about to share is dangerous, and then I go but the second type, and then now I go again. But the third type is always a but. But it's always like something additional. It's like you're not there yet. You're close, but not there yet, right? So, but the third type pulls people in by focusing on loss. Another simple rehook. I give another example.
An example is, I paid $50K in therapy just to learn this. They're getting it for free, so they'll listen.
Okay, so by now there's like 100% chance like basically no one's going to scroll away because I created the curiosity with my hook, doubled your curiosity with the primer, and then I used the unique mechanism name, and then my speed to value. Basically within the first, I think 7 or 8 seconds, I'm already in with the value to show you a case in point, right? And then I stacked another one, which you're locked in again because it's like, oh, okay, not only did I get value on the first point, I got value on my second point, the secret. Now I give you a third one with like a third example, right? On loss. It's like I paid $50K in therapy just to learn this. And exactly like I said, they're getting it for free. So now they're gonna listen. So that's the third example. And then I rehook again.
But the strongest one of all is when you transfer the morals to the viewer. So you can say,
okay, the strongest one of all. That's like super carefully designed choice of word. But the strongest one of all is where you transfer the morals to the viewer. So I'm saying like, yeah, everything I said previously, yeah, is good. But the strongest one of all, right? If you're watching that video and you're already in this deep, you want to know the best one, right? So I saved the best for last, and I rehooked you in just in case you're about to dip. I mean, the strongest one of all. But I start with the word but the strongest one of all is where you transfer the morals to the viewer, and you're like, what the heck does that even mean? So I give you another example.
Hey, I'm trusting you with this. Please don't abuse this.
Right? So it's like including the person with it part of your secret. It's like, hey, I'm trusting you with this secret. Please don't abuse this. Please don't share it with anyone. It's like you're now like in the same boat as I am, right? I'm including you in this like heist that I'm doing. Obviously, extreme example, but you know what I'm saying. And then I just end up with closing the loop right here.
Now the viewer can't help but watch.
That's it. That's how simple it is. Another key thing to note is, like I always say within my videos, you should always look at the end of each line. You can see it's like if it draws if you connect the dots between the end of each line and it draws this jagged line, that's how you're going to create pace and rhythm. If it looks straight and narrow, like let's say the end of the lines look like the start of the lines, it just draws a straight line, you're going to sound plain, bored, and like it's just going to sound like the pace is just going to be horrible. I don't know what else to say. So by jagged line, it forces it to create rhythm even if you don't have any. It's like you can't deliver it. It's like if you say one of these lines after you hook, your views would double. It's called the primer. It's like I can't extend it any much longer, which is why I prefer scripting. I understand some people like to go off the cuff, but I found it to be able to be very nice to be able to just see my script and make sure that it's like long, short, medium, long, short, long, short, long, short. And then if everything looks kind of too similar, I will always edit to make sure that it at least draws this jagged line. But this only scratches the surface of actually creating a strong personal brand. If you actually want to add 100,000 followers this year and get leads and clients every single week with content, you have to check out this video. It's called the 100K Personal Brand Plan. It's the fastest way I know in order to add 100,000 followers. I lay out all the different stages and each step within each stage. So go check it out. See you on the next one.